Dr. Angie Speaks, and where real conversations meet real expertise. Hello, everyone. Today, I have a very special treat for you guys. We have Mr. Leo Lucier, Mr. Tax King himself. We are going to talk all things taxes. We're going to talk about some ways for you guys to save some money. We're going to talk about some ways for you all to learn a little more about taxes. And for the people who would like to make some extra income, we'll talk about how you all can be a part of his program and learn more about taxes. So, Mr. Leo, Mr. Tax King, professional, tell us how long you have been in the tax industry.
That's a very, very good question. And good afternoon, Dr. Angie. I am delighted to be on this call with you and this meeting with you today. This is an amazing opportunity to share what I've been doing since 1989. 1989 is when I first started business, started taxes. I literally started from my home, my dining room table with my three little kids right there, helping me start my business. And one of my kids have gone on to become one of the top CPAs in the city. And but the name of the business is called Tax King. It's called Tax King. The legal name is Tax King Refund Centers LLC. I've been registered with the state of Georgia for a number of years. I've had at one time I had over 12 locations in the Metro Atlanta area. I also have employed over 45 people in those offices. I've helped, oh my goodness, I can't count now how many people started their businesses through my training. And so I've seen several, Dr. Angie, you've probably seen this before. I've seen several people try to copy the name and use my name, but I am the original. I'm the first one to incorporate Tax King in the state of Georgia, and I'm definitely proud of that. I've built that business up over the years to the point where I even got an offer from a national tax firm to buy my offices, pretty much buy my office. I don't know too many people in my world, in my skin color, that built a business and then sold it to a national firm. But I did something really smart when I did that. I sold off all the offices except for one, and the one I kept for myself and branded it Tax King Refund Centers. They couldn't buy the name; they just bought the offices. So I've been continuously in business. I've over the years, I've pretty much been helping people from all levels, from all income levels, CEOs to people working at Burger King and Waffle House. So I have no discrimination against anybody. Taxes is taxes, no matter what. We all have to participate in that activity.
Yes.
So I've had folks. In fact, I got a call this morning for somebody out in Texas, a longtime client I haven't seen in several years, and they said, "Leo, we need you." Okay, so they had several years for me to file, but I love it. I love taxes. I love informing people, helping them organize their lives financially. People don't know this, Dr. Angie. People don't know that you can actually become wealthy by how you handle your taxes. That's very critical. It's a very important part of your wealth strategy. In fact, all presidents, every president that's come on board have had their own tax programs. The key is what I do is I study the tax programs. I find out. I don't care who the president is, including the current president. I study their tax code, their tax strategies, their tax laws. Because if you learn the laws, you know the rules, then you can take advantage of the rules. Because I have a famous saying that says taxes was started for business people by business people. In fact, if you don't have a business, I highly encourage small business owners or big business owners. I encourage everybody to have a business. Whether you work, like I said, at Waffle House, you should have a business on the side. Whether you work IBM, I don't care what it is. If you bank teller, you need a business on the side because the taxes were made for business people. You miss out on thousands of dollars of tax breaks if you don't have a business. Okay, so most of what I'll talk to you about today will be business related tax savings. Okay, I'm finishing up my first book, 150 tax tips. That's
Nice.
becoming. I'll be coming out. Yes, by the end of the month. I have a couple more. About a week and a half now. It'll be completed, and I'll be ready for distribution. So be on the lookout for 150 tax tips by the Tax King.
Nice.
So one of the things I do want to share with you today that I think is of utmost importance is right now with the current tax code under what they call the BBBB, whatever you call it, the big beautiful bill, however you want to refer to it, is a lot of tax loopholes in that bill. A lot. Uh, I particularly like to talk to people with who, especially nowadays, a lot of people are working for themselves. They either have some people call it the gig working economy, where people who work in DoorDash, Uber, Instacart. They don't know it. Most people don't know it, but they're in business for themselves. Those are businesses. Whether you go an LLC to business or incorporated business, S corporate business, or sole proprietor, it's still a business. IRS recognizes you as a business owner, but you would never get the breaks that the business owners get unless you file your taxes with a business return. Now, I get this question a lot about, do I need to, and this is a very important question, do I need, the operative word is need, do I need to go and file my LLC in order to take advantage of the tax code? The answer is no. IRS doesn't care. The state registration is with the state level, and that's how you LLC your business. But IRS says, well, whether you're LLC or whether you're sole proprietor, you still can file as a business. Okay. Now some people say, oh wow, that's weird. I've heard differently, but believe me, the IRS does not ask the question, are you an LLC? No. What they want to know is what income did you bring in, and what expenses are you trying to deduct? And then the next question comes up, I get a lot, is how much can I deduct?
Right.
I love that question. That's one of my favorite questions, okay? The question is that how much can I deduct? You can deduct as much as you can prove. Period. Point blank. Can you prove it?
Right.
Because if you're deducting a lot, but you have no proof of it, you're putting yourself in serious jeopardy, because IRS loves people who don't keep track of their income and their expenses. So what I do whenever I have a new client, I give them free of charge. I'm gonna start charging, but right now it's free of charge, an income and expense sheet where you can keep track of your income and expenses throughout the year. It's the beginning of a bookkeeping system. If you're gonna claim a business, you got to be able to prove your expenses.
Everyone that's listening, there are a lot of tax loopholes that you are able to take advantage of, and having a good tax person in your corner when you have a business can be very, very helpful to your individual businesses. But you need someone that's knowledgeable. You need someone who knows the ins and outs of taxes. You need someone who can walk you through, especially if you have issues going on with the IRS. So they would actually call on your behalf if you have someone that you're working with, a CPA, an accountant. All these people are very important to your business. Right, Mr. Leo?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. Let's move on to another topic. Another topic is this: if you have a business, and are you going to claim your business? And so let's define a business, because what is a business is an enterprise that is a business, an activity that is seeking to make a profit. Okay, very simple. There's a lot of wording that you could be using, a lot of fancy words and lettering, a lot of things they could say, but the bottom line is, are you trying to make a profit? Because if you're not trying to make a profit through your activity, then IRS will claim it as a hobby.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that people tell me a lot is that well, I didn't make any money, so I'm not going to file my business this year. That's a very dangerous attitude to have, because if you didn't make any money, it doesn't mean that you were in businesses. Most businesses don't make money. They don't make a profit typically in the first 3 years, and IRS will let you lose money
Mm.
for at least the first 3 years of your business without shutting you down. They can start denying your deductions after 3 years. But the key is that you're going about to try to make a profit in that pursuit. You usually spend a lot of expenses getting ramped up, and you also are putting a lot of time involved in spending money on equipment or advertising, things like that to kind of get your business going. Let's take for example, say if it's a very small business, very small. Let's let's say it's a babysitting. Babysitting. Then that's real simple. I think a lot of people do that. Okay.
Mm.
Babysitting. I've had this is a great example. A young lady says, "I don't have. You know, I want to keep kids." I said, do you charge people?" They're like, "Yeah, I do charge. That's why I do it. You know, so I can make some money." I said, "Okay, are you reported to the IRS?"
Mm.
"No, that's my under the table money. That's my money. That's the money I keep. I don't want IRS taxing that money." I said, "Okay, I understand where you say that, but let's look at this another way. So, are you really making money? Do you keep them in your home, or are you going to their house? Or they come to my house. Well, now, they come to your house. Do you know that the utilities in your house, portion of that can be deducted now because the kids, if you didn't have utilities, you can't keep kids in your house if you don't have utilities, because they
Right.
have to be able to, you know, have lights and gas and water. All right. Uh, so what about food? Do you feed them, or do the parents bring the food? Well, they bring food, but oftentimes I have to use food in my pantry for my kids. So that's food. Food is a deduction, you know. They're like, wow, yeah, well, okay. So now they're starting to think about it, because yeah, you brought money in, you charging each family, each kid, charging for each kid, but you also are spending money just to do that business. What
Mm.
about your car? Have you ever had to drop one of these kids off? Oh yeah, sometimes I do. You know, the parents call, "Can you drop my kid off?" You're using your car now. So a car, you can take mileage, you can take deductions for the use of your car. And Dr. Andrew, you realize you can actually possibly write that car off. I'm talking about totally deduct the value of that car in the year you first started using that vehicle.
Mm.
Well, that can pretty much wipe out any income that you have. Well, if you wipe your income out with your expenses, then
Right.
you're probably operating at a loss.
Mm.
Well, if you operate at a loss, then that's going to reduce your taxable income to the point of either getting a bigger refund, or you owe no taxes at all.
Mm-hmm.
So the key is to use what you're doing to make it benefit you. Okay.
Right.
And so one simple way example of a small business owner who didn't look at themselves as a business at all. But
Mm.
to IRS, you're a business because you brought in money, and
Mm.
you didn't do that through a W-2. You did it on your own. Okay. Now let's go up another step. Let's say you're an Uber driver. Okay. Now Uber drivers, every year Uber drivers, and anybody who's on the call and listening in may have ridden an Uber vehicle or drive for Uber for income. Those are businesses. They even proof as a business that Uber will send an IRS a statement on how much they paid you for the year. Even if they don't send it to you, they are sending it to the IRS, because by doing that, they can write off what they pay you, what you get paid through their system. Okay, but Uber charges a lot of fees.
Mm.
They charge a lot of fees for being on their platform. So the key now is that they're charging you fees. You will make more money if they didn't charge fees. Well, you can write all those fees off. Okay, they'll give you a statement at the end of the year too, with how much fees you pay, how many miles you drove your car. But if you just depend upon that, you're missing out on the deductions, because with the with that, your expenses are beyond what your expenses are beyond what Uber or Lyft will show you. For example, they're only going to show you the time that you was on the app, but you got to use your car to get to the point to pick somebody up. But they're not counting that. They only counting from the time you pick them up to the time you drop them off, and that's it. Okay, but you got to drive. You using that car the whole day. You can start keeping track. So keep track of your mileage. I recommend people keep track of their mileage anyway. Okay, because you need to know how much money you're spending on gas and how much money you're spending on repairs. You got to keep track of your expenses. It's all about recording and keeping track so that when you take a deduction, if IRS ever tries to audit you and you have not been keeping track of your expenses, they're going to ask you a question. Well, how do you keep track of your income and your expenses? And you say, well, I got a checking account. I go on my account and I can see what I spent. That's not a system. That's an account. Okay. They want a system. They want to be able to trust your numbers. Okay. So if you tell them you don't have a reliable system, Dr. Angie, they will fine you $1,500 just to get started. Okay, in your audit, because you've just now not complied with the rules that IRS has put in place for small business, called small business owner. And I think I can go on and on and on and on and on about this industry, about what's going on. But I would appreciate if you ask me any questions that you feel that you think your audience may want to know about.
Absolutely. You don't have to say any names, but tell us a time when you helped an individual, out of a sticky situation, or a time that you helped someone and it made you feel good, and it made you feel that what you're doing and the passion that you have for taxes, it is worth it.
Yeah, that's very good. I've had several of those situations. That's a great question. Here's one for you. This is a situation where you have a married couple, okay, and for one reason or another, they didn't file taxes for 3 years.
Mm, 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 mm.
Okay, they didn't file taxes for 3 years. They got so busy. One thing led to another. They got caught up in life, and it just didn't happen for them. Okay, and then one of the family members, part of the couples passed away. Very sticky situation, because now the surviving spouse or partner, they have to take care of everything themselves.
Mm,
And you can imagine how stressful that can be. Okay, somebody recommended them to me, and then recommended them to me. So I always ask them, I asked everybody when they first started doing taxes with me, I need to see a copy of the last return you filed, because I can always find things that was in that last return that I could pull over to the new year and then keep it going for the previous years. Now that couple didn't realize that the husband had been doing some side work, and he was also doing self-employment where he had a job, but he also did some self-employment work. He didn't think it was a big deal. He was having to be an officer, a sheriff with Cobb County. I can't call any names, but if they're on this call, they probably one of them may probably recognize who they are. But they work with, so what they were doing, they was doing parking, like when you have a big church conference, church meeting, or Sundays they directing traffic in and out the parking lot and all that. You see the police out there before. I'm sure everybody has seen that. Well, they were doing that on the side, and previously, before I started doing their taxes, it always caused them to owe money, because that money they were making on the side wasn't taxed yet. Self-employment income is not taxed up front. You have to pay taxes on that on the back end. Now, but when I found that out, I started asking the question. Remember now, one spouse has passed away. So the other surviving spouse had to come in and try to think about all the things that they were experiencing. And I said, well, let me ask you this: did they have a car? Oh yeah. They have a car. They have to drive their car. Some of them drove motorcycles, and and those kind of things. And I was like, okay. So I found out, I got the records from the mileage on the vehicle and how many, we estimated how many miles, and people don't realize you can estimate expenses. That's a real trick. That should be a loophole right there people don't know about. You can estimate, okay? But it got to be reasonable estimations. You can't just go crazy with it. I happen to know what is considered reasonable and customary for a majority of industries. So that's one reason why you want to use a professional, somebody who knows the tax code and how to make sure you get the biggest benefit. Okay, so to continue with the story, we found out that we did estimate on their mileage. We did the valuation on the car, on the vehicle they use and the motorcycle they use, and we was able to write off that motorcycle in that vehicle. Okay, just told to take a full deduction for it. I think the motorcycle was about 36,000. Okay, in value, nice motorcycle. I guess some people call them Harleys or Hogs or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
them. Yeah. So it took a nice deduction on that. That deduction ended up getting that spouse just for 1 year about $6,000 in refunds back to them. They were like, oh my God. They're like, wow, we never had a refund before. What it was able to do was there was enough money, enough refund to pay back any back taxes that they had previous years. Okay.
Okay.
And have money left over to put in their pocket. Okay, after that. And that was just 1 year. Then I went forward with the additional 2 years to get them caught up, and then found out they had refunds for each one of those years. Needless to say, that couple is how I got my name. That family that's how I got my name, Tax King. They just said, man, you are good. You are good. You're the king. That's right. You're the tax king. Yes. And say, hey, can I keep that? Can I use that? I like that. So that's how I came up with the name, and that's why I started using the name, because I believe that in my Holy Father, who is the King of all, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. I'm sure you know we Christians know about that, but we still I honor him. I'm from Atlanta, which is the home of Dr. Martin Luther King, and with those two major influences in my life, I was proud to be able to carry the banner of Tax King as for my business. So now the refund centers part is what I'm doing now. I'm actually setting up individuals, small business owners, or people who want to be in this tax business, become their own refund center. People will come to them to help them get the refunds. I will train you. I have a class. I have a full package which includes classes, includes the software, the formatting, the marketing format, the marketing tips. You get everything you need. You can incorporate. I do have an incorporation process. Also, I have a way for you to either work from home virtually or set up a physical office. So the program I have, you can set it up and you can be right in a shopping center, strip mall if you want, and have your own location. But so that is definitely an option and a way to grow your income. Now, I mentioned that you can you become wealthy by how you handle your taxes, okay? Because every money that you don't give the government, you get to keep, all right? Every dollar that you don't give to the government, you keep. All right. Now, Dr. Angie, you may have to jump in and slow me down if I get on the road too much, because I can talk.
Go ahead. We got time.
Good. So, every penny that you don't give the government, you can keep for yourself. Now, what do you do with that money? If you work a job, most people have on their job retirement plans like 401ks, 403bs, some type of saving vehicle on your job. I highly recommend that you and everybody start there, especially if you're a younger person, just starting in the work world, start saving now. Okay, that's what's going to benefit you. Save now. Now, so all that money that you save while you're working through a 401k plan, I would say max out your 401k. You can put up to typically 15% of your income. recommend everybody set it as a goal for yourself, if to put in at least to save at least 15% of your total income and learn to live on the rest of it.
So let
Uh,
this for single parents or people. We have a global audience. People around the world who just don't have enough money to make ends meet, or single parents who just don't have enough money. How do they decide? Do they save that 15% or do they put food on the table?
oh, very good, very good. Well, typically, if you don't have much money, and I understand that, I've been there, been there myself, so I understand what it is. One thing we do have, everybody has 24 hours in every day. Okay, we all have that. It's what you do with that 24 hours is going to make the difference.
Right.
So there are ways of you, especially nowadays, there's so many ways to bring in additional dollars. Okay, if you have a job, thank God that you have a job. Start there. But when you get off work, put in a few extra hours. I'm not promoting DoorDash, but I can tell you that DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, if you have a car, Uber, Lyft, there's so many different things you can do to make additional income. But as far as saving money, most people, okay, I just noticed from my own experiences, it's not that they don't make enough money, it's what they're doing with the money they do make.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
Because people don't make much money, but they'll go to Starbucks.
Right.
They'll go to Starbucks. They'll stop at Wendy's. They'll go to McDonald's. They take the kids to McDonald's. You know, at McDonald's now for a family of four, you're spending almost 20. You spend $25, $30 for a meal at McDonald's now, right now. And so it seems like, well, you got to eat, of course, yeah, but $30 you can actually buy. You can buy the food and cook it. Save that money. Do the things that's necessary. It may not be easy at first, but do the hard things. Save your money. It's worth it. Okay. Now, hopefully you stay in your job. You get a raise. You can start making more money. When you start making money, don't just immediately go out and start buying stuff all the time because you got a bigger raise. And I see this a lot, Dr. Angie. Dr. Angie, I really see this a lot. And
Yes.
this is especially during tax season. Okay. When they get their refund, I've gotten like $11,000, $15,000 refunds for people. And the
Mm,
first thing they do, they go buy furniture, they go buy clothes, they take a trip. Okay. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but everything has its time and everything has its place. Take care of first things first. If you can put that money away, some of that money, save it. Okay. What if you took 15% of that? Okay.
oh,
And save that.
mhm.
But you gotta get in the habit of saving. Saving is a habit. You have to, just like drinking coffee, some people smoke cigarettes. There's money down the drain right there, up in the air, should I say, with smoking cigarettes. But I can tell you, I'm not trying to stop anybody from their pleasure, but I am trying to encourage you to take advantage of your opportunities as they're presented. Of course, you also have the opportunity to join me as I help young entrepreneurs and young and old. Doesn't matter your age, you can learn a new skill. This industry is not that difficult.
Mm,
Everybody in America, what an industry! Everybody in America has to participate. If you work in America, you have to file taxes. That's just where it is. Whether you do it now or whether you do it later, you got you got to file it. Okay, so I know I know people have a hard time out there, and I'm very sympathetic to that. But I'm not going to let you off the hook because I've seen for my own lifestyle before I started my business. It was tough.
mhm.
Okay, it was very tough. I had kids had 4 kids, and I have they're all grown and doing extremely well now. But when they were younger before I started my business, it was tough, very tough. So I can say to you that ingenuity, use your time wisely. Time is money. Okay, if you use it wisely, it'll profit you. So I don't discriminate with people based upon income. Okay, but
Okay.
I have definitely a plan for people. So here's an example of somebody who um, was on Section 8. Okay, so we're talking about when you're on Section 8, that means that you're below the poverty line in America. Now, most people don't realize if you make less than $40,000 in this United States and you have kids, you're in poverty, whether you know it or not.
Mm, mm,
Okay,
mm.
you're below it. So that tells you a lot of people making a lot more money. But the key is also too, what are you doing with the money that you do make? Okay, so but this was a case I was going to give you real quick about a young lady who had two kids, and they was on Section 8, food stamps, the whole 9 yards. All right, and and I told them a little thing about, hey, save some of your refund money. If they make less than 40, they're gonna get a nice sizable refund. Okay, and I'm talking about double digits. And they listened to me.
Mm.
I said, listen, save some of this money, put some money away, because your goal is going to be you're going to be in a house. The plan is for you to be in a house within the next 2 to 3 years. Okay. Now, some people look at 2 or 3 years from now as a long time, but if you don't, if you it can be a while, but if you don't start doing something with your money, those 2 or 3 years will pass by and you still don't have any money. You have to do something. They save that money, put it aside until they had enough for a down payment. In fact, they didn't have to use all their down payment money because they qualified for down payment assistance through a realtor and through a mortgage company. So there are benefits. There's some benefits for you if your income is not that high, but if you still want a house. Okay. Now, so it's getting more difficult now because the property values are rising so fast. But it's still that you can still buy houses now. Um, so I've heard every excuse in the world. I heard every reason in the world, but still, at the end of the day, you can still do it. You just have to be focused and disciplined. Okay, it doesn't cost anything to be disciplined. So, anything else you'd like to know, Dr. Angie?
Yes, I have questions, but how also share how people can reach you, whether it's email, website, whatever you would like to share.
Yeah. So I'm still reachable by phone. You can call me 404-454-2964. Let me say it again, 404. There's a lot of fours in this my phone number. 404-454-2964. Okay, that's my phone number. You can email me at EA, that's as in E as in Edward, A as in Apple, EA.mytaxking, EA.mytaxking@gmail.com. You can reach me directly at my email and my phone number. I have a website too. You can visit me now at www.mytaxking2, the number 2.com, mytaxking2.com. And so it's like someone saying, he's my tax king too. Yes, right, I am. So you can use mytaxking2.com. You can go straight to my website. Now I know we've been having enough time for this, but for those who are interested in being involved in the tax industry, I have a very, very full, very easy step-by-step process on what it takes to be a professional tax person. And Dr. Andrew, I must say this, I'm going to use this opportunity to share with you. One of my concerns is that there's a lot of people who out there that say they do taxes,
You're
but,
right.
but, but they're not really tax people, okay? They may enjoy making the money, they charge people for doing taxes, but what they're really doing is they're using TurboTax
Mm.
as their tax platform to do other people's tax returns.
Mm.
Well, if you're hearing this, you may not heard this, me and heard this before. Most people don't know this, but that's the illegal. You cannot use. In fact, if IRS finds out and the TurboTax finds out, they will block you, and block your IP address from even doing that, going to the site. But what they do, they pull up an account for TurboTax and they use it as if it's the individuals doing it themselves. They never sign a tax return. They will never. They don't, that's a sign. Matter of fact, that's a sign. If they don't sign your tax return either physically or electronically, sign it. Then that's illegal. That means they don't want IRS to know that they did it. So that means that gives them influence or ability to put whatever they want on your tax return, make you pay for it, okay? And then the client is ultimately liable for whatever this person did on their tax return. So you got to be really careful about that. If they tell you, if someone tells you, okay, tell you what, I have your refund directly deposited into my account, into their account. Should I say, I won't do this. I've seen this a lot, where they have the refund directly deposited into an individual's account, and who's, the tax preparers, or so-called tax preparers account, and then they'll pay them, they'll take their fees out of that, and then send them a check or Zelle or cash out them the rest of their refund. That's illegal. That's called commingling of clients' funds. You can't do that and do that legally. In fact, it opens up for fraud, because now they can tell you that you got a $4,000 refund when you could have had a $7,000 refund, and they keep the $3,000 and give you the $4,000, and you don't even know it, because you didn't really see the full tax return, or they gave you a document that they represent as a full tax return. I've seen that so many times, and I'm like, wow, and do you realize you just paid them $4,000 to do your tax return? So if you deal with a professional, with a person who has what's called a PTIN number, it's a number that IRS gives to tax preparers, professional tax identification number. If you don't have that, if that person does not have that, do not let them touch your tax return. Okay, that PTIN is supposed to go on the tax return next to their signature, so IRS knows who actually prepared the return. And those who are doing that as a so-called business, let me tell you, there's a way to get legal. You don't have to do that to make money. There's a legal way of doing it. It's not that difficult, but you can get more clients by doing it the right way. Okay, and you will be able to do it for a long time, like me. A lot of people who start this, who go out, call themselves tax preparers. Several years down the line, you won't see them anymore. They're gone. They're either in jail or fined or barred from preparing tax returns because they didn't do it the right way. And so when you see somebody who has 25 plus years in the industry, they've been doing something right. Okay.
Right.
And so now I would say I've been, was it 89? I've been 34 years now. So I am definitely, did I have that right, Dr. Angie? I don't even know how long I've been in business now. How long is that? 1989 is, let's see, 1989 minus 26 equals 37 years, Dr. Angie.
Yes.
Wow, that's a long time. So I can say to you now that throughout the years, it's been a joy. I love it. I love what I do. I've helped a lot of folks, a lot of people. I help people keep out of trouble, and I've added tax problem, tax issue resolution. Taxes. If you owe IRS a lot of money from previous years, or for whatever reason, you owe them a lot of money, I can now help you. Okay, I used to farm that business out to somebody else, but now that's another arm. That's another arm of my business now. So let me know by contacting me at 404-454-2964 to get some information about how to solve your tax problem if you owe a balance over, if you owe a balance over $7,000. If it's under $7,000, I can suggest what you do, but I can't really physically help you. Okay, we had to cut the line somewhere, because you can typically $7,000. There's a way you can spread that payment out on what you owe out. Now, some people have heard that you can just wipe out your taxes. IRS is not in the business of giving away money. They can reduce your penalties and interest, which reduce your total overall bill, and they'll let you make a payment agreement to spread that what you do owe out for over 5 years, so that can bring that down quite a bit. So there's always something to do. So if you want to do it, if you want to get into business, you have a problem, if you want to get into business, tax business, I can help you. If you have a tax problem, I can help you. If you just have a question, just a simple question, there's no silly questions, I can help you. Okay. All you got to do is call 404-454-2964, the tax king. Call him the tax king.
So tell us, how has some of the laws changed in a good way to help small business owners?
Yeah. Well, that's a good. I mentioned one of them earlier about the depreciation. It's called this 179 depreciation. Say if you can say repeat after me, 179. That's a
One
big,
seven.
that's a very important number. Okay, that IRS code allows you to take a full deduction of any business equipment, vehicles that you have to use for your business, and that right there has changed over the years. They used to give you a partial deduction, but now you can take full up to, I think it's now $1 million in deductions for that. If you probably see people driving these G-Wagons and
Oh yeah.
these Range Rovers and stuff like that. Some of them have taken advantage of that tax code. Okay,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be a luxury vehicle, but some people, those vehicles do qualify.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm a,
another tax law that has changed for business owners is that if you use your home, use your home for business purposes, you can now deduct a portion of your home for tax purposes on your tax return. Okay,
okay.
and these are all don't require an LLC. Everything I'm telling you right now does not require an LLC.
Okay.
LLCs. When you say LLC, LLCs are really important for legal purposes because now you've established that you have a business entity. It's called a limited liability company, a legal limited liability company, LLC. That designation, if you operate under your business, when someone sues you, they have to sue the business. They can't sue you and take your personal assets. If it's not in the business, they can't have it. Okay, so that's for protection purposes. As far as the tax deduction benefits, it's the same as a sole proprietor, exact same.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So now, Dr. Angie, I don't know if you would allow me to share my screen to share with the audience who a form I need everybody to see. Is that okay for you today?
Go
Do
ahead.
you have time for that?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Give me just a minute. Let me give me sharing ability. Oh, okay.
So while we're doing that, is there a particular time when people should file their taxes?
Yes. There it is. Give me just a second. I will give you that.
Okay.
Code. Oh,
Uh,
can you see my screen, Dr. Angie?
it's coming. It's buffering. It's coming up. There it is.
Yeah, I recommend you file your taxes as early as possible. Okay, early as possible, and do not if you know you're going to owe money, don't just because you know you're going to owe money, you don't necessarily have to file an extension. Go ahead and file it if you know you're going to owe, because if you file it on time, you're going to reduce your penalties and interest on
Oh,
your taxes.
a lot of people
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people think that if you file an extension, that means you have an extension to file to pay.
Mm.
Extension is extension to file, not necessarily extension to pay. IRS wants their money right now. Okay, they want it by the 15th of April every year. All
Mm.
right. What I have on the screen right here is what I call my income and expense sheet. It's a very, I would call it a very simple sheet. Of course, if I would send this to you, and you put your company name here, your tax year you're filing. If you have an EIN number, right here. If you don't have a company name, no problem. But different, you may not, you may also, if you have an EIN number, no problem, okay? But always put the tax year here. Now, the first line here, and I'm just gonna go through this briefly because I think this is very important. Report all business income deposits here. So if you have a bank account for your business, or if you don't have a bank account for your business, any income that you receive on 1099s, okay, or deposit in your account, business income money deposit in your account, put it there. Now, after that, that's your deposit income, that's money coming in. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, all these deductions from advertising, auto expenses, commissions and fees paid out, equipment purchased, insurance other than health. You can take health insurance, but not on the business line. Interest paid, legal and professional service. I consider myself a professional service. You can take my fee, you can write my fee off. You're not writing your tax preparation fees off every year, then you're missing the boat, okay? Office expenses, IRA contributions. Did you know that if you save money, I mentioned you said save money, to start saving money, you save it in the IRA. That's what your businesses don't, self-employed persons don't have a 401k, but they can have an IRA. It does the same thing. It allows you to save money while you're growing your money.
Mm.
Okay. And we can get more into that at another time. Rent or lease for vehicle or expenses. Okay. Repairs and maintenance, supplies, taxes, licenses, travel. Oh, travel. One of my favorite things in the world.
Yes.
Dr. Angie does a lot of traveling as well as I know I do. The deal is that I have determined, I've learned something that I want to drop. I want to drop a piece of advice here for everybody here. You know, IRS will not allow you to deduct a vacation, but they will allow you to deduct business travel. So people will tell me, "Oh, you're on vacation." I said, no, I'm traveling for business. Okay. So I would encourage you to be in a business that allows you to travel and take deductions. It's kind of hard to do that as an Uber driver, unless you're going to Uber drive in another country. You know what I'm saying? So, the travel is a big deduction. Meals and entertainment, that's another thing. Now, when I say entertainment, they won't let you take the cost for liquor, okay? But they will, if you're entertaining clients, like if you have a meal with a client, you take that deduction. If you're buying meals for an event that you're giving for your business, take deductions there. Utilities, wages paid. You pay somebody to help you pay wages, put it there. Other expenses. Some things you pay for your business, but there's no line for it.
Right.
You can list it as other expenses. And communication devices is something that everybody has, and
Yeah.
that's cell phones. So now, if these are all the deductions the IRS will allow you to take, but it's more than that because some things are just not listed here. Like for example, some people, education is not listed here. Okay, but education is an expense, especially if there's education for a degree, but it's also education to enhance your business. Right?
Yes.
Like for example, you pay me to for my tax class. That's education. And
Right.
you can deduct that under other expenses. Now, this form is a usable form. You can actually write in it, you can actually type in it. You can type in there. So you definitely have an opportunity to really use the form itself. But you can actually write on it. I recommend people print this out. And now, Dr. Angie, what I really want to tell you and your audience that I recommend, well, hey, the way I tell you to keep yourself, to help you become audit proof or how to pass an audit, print this form out, print 12 of these pieces of paper, print 12, print 12 these income and expense sheets, okay? Get you 12 envelopes or 12 folders. This is the old fashioned way, but it's the way to do it. Iris really loves these, by the way. And then in every folder, put this in every folder, put one of these in each folder. Label your folders or your envelopes January, February, March, all the way through December. And every month, put all your receipts, every receipt that you spend money on, everything. I mean, even if you don't think of it as business, put the receipt in there anyway. Okay.
Okay.
Because if you're because what people are now starting to learn, they especially talk to me. I have what I call it the Bezos plan. You never heard of Jeff Bezos? Isn't he the owner of Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay. He has the same, he and Elon Musk and a lot of those super rich people have the same thing. Okay. They don't pay taxes. Okay. They don't pay taxes because they write off their life. So my goal is trying to teach people how to write their life off. You can't do it if you don't have a business. So I write it back around to the business, which you have to have. All right. So now, if you do that after you fill this out every month, okay. Now, what I need is from my clients, if you're my client, what I need is one sheet that has all of your income and all of your expenses on one sheet, but you keep the one for every month and you total them up every year and give me, I as your taxpayer don't need every sheet. If I total it up, so that's what people don't understand. Bookkeeping is for the business owner. That's your responsibility as a business owner, is to keep track of your income and expenses. To file it on your taxes, I need what is called a profit and loss statement or this completed income and expense sheet. All right. Whether you do it or you have somebody else do it or you pay me to do it, it needs to be done. Because then if IRS audits you and they say, well, how are you keeping track of your income and expenses? To avoid that $1,500 fine I told you about earlier, you say, well, sir, my tax advisor has given me these income and expense sheets, and I fill these forms out every month, and I detailed all my expenses. Would you like to see it? Would you like to see all my folders? They're going like, no, you're okay, you're okay. You show them one or two, they're like, okay, because they don't want to go through all. They really don't want to. They want to find you, move on, or figure out that you can't be fined and move on. So this can save you. I've had so many people bellyache about it. Oh, it's too much work. You asked me for so much stuff. Shouldn't you do that? I said, I can do it, but it needs to be done. But if I do it, I'm going to charge you because that's time. Time is money. You can do it because you're spending the money. You know what you spent.
Right.
I'm going to have to figure it out.
Right.
Okay. And that takes time and takes time and effort. So, is any of this making sense, Dr. Angie?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, process, but it's one that will save you $1,500 in the long run, and headaches. Save you a lot of headaches.
Yeah, save you a lot of headache, but also can help you get a bigger deduction because now you actually have a true idea, true numbers on what you spent.
You're right.
Okay, and you would know where you spent your money, so that'll help you as a business owner in a business how to keep from spending so much money in certain areas. If your meals and entertainment is higher than your your other expenses, then we know where your money's going. You're eating out a lot and you just partying. Okay.
Right.
It'll help you know where you're spending your money. Dr. Andrew, do you have any questions on this particular form here?
So people who have a nonprofit or they do their hobbies out of their house, would they still use the same form?
Yes. Yes. And I don't want to continue using the word hobby.
Okay.
Hobbies are not tax deductible.
Okay.
That's just fun. That's just like people crochet. See, that's a good example too. Crocheting. People crochet for fun. It's a hobby. They just sit around and crochet. That's a hobby. But how do you turn your hobby into a business?
Right.
You take the crochet and now you put it and then you start offering it for sale. You can go door to door, person to person, call your friends and family members and sell it. Okay. All it cost you was your time and yarn. Okay. And so,
Right.
but so you turn that hobby now into a business because you got to buy the yarn.
Correct.
If you're doing it at home, you got to pay the utilities for the house,
Right.
the house note, the house rent. So those things will now become deductible. Not everything, not 100%, but a portion of what you have been doing because now you weren't getting those deductions at all. And
Right.
I'm showing you how to get the deductions. So I have a little section here that says, very important, please read. I have some people read it. It says, if you're reporting a business or self-employment income and expenses, this form must be completed or you may supply a profit and loss statement. This form must be signed and dated. This form will be saved as proof as proof. This form will be saved in your file as proof of transactions. IRS allows you to reorganize your businesses as per IRS publication 535. Please let me know if you have any questions. So when I said what reorganizing is that, say for instance, you just didn't keep track of you didn't keep track of all your expenses throughout the year. But you say you did have that bank account. The bank account is not an income and expense sheet. A bank statement is not a profit and loss statement. You can take your bank statement and fill this out from the bank statement, okay? And because when you pull your statement out, now some bank accounts have gotten real savvy. They will give you a summary at the
Okay.
end of the month, where you have the summary and fill this out. So the summary, you can use the summary as well. For me, in place of it, but I need one for the year when you're doing your taxes. I don't need a 1 month version. Okay. I've had people fill this whole thing out and it's all for just 1 month. And they expect me to multiply this times 12, and that would be that's what they want me to use. That's not how I do it.
Mm.
Okay. That's me making up numbers for you. I
Right.
know every month it's not the same. Okay. But if you do this, let me tell you what my grandmother used to do. It means I'm gonna have to refer back to the old folks because they had it right, even though it was simple. Every month, and I recommend like just every month, like on the first Sunday of the new month, they pull together all their expenses for that month, the previous month. Okay, either use this form or something similar to this, and write out all of what you spent your money on. How much money did you pay on gas for your car? How much money did you pay for food, grocery store, the Kroger's and the Publix, or however or food from McDonald's or food from a restaurant, a nice restaurant. Those are receipts that you get every time they bring you a receipt. You have to sign it. Okay, if you're using your card, but they're definitely going to bring you a receipt, so they want to know how much the tip they're going to get. Okay,
Yeah. Right.
so you get receipts. Most people just throw it. And in fact, people ask you all the time, would you like a receipt? Would you like the receipt? They have to ask you that. Okay, because if they don't ask you that, then they're breaking the law because they can't. They have no proof of that you actually got spent money with them.
Mm.
Okay, but it's very important to keep track of your income and expenses as a way to build wealth as well. Because if you know where your money's going, then you have the power to be able to either one reduce that spending in the areas that's not benefiting you, like you don't have to have that cup of Starbucks every month, okay, every day. You know
Right.
that adds up, Angie. That
Oh,
adds up.
at least
Yeah,
$300 to $400 a month.
let's talk about that. I got my calculator back up again. What is a cup of coffee? What, $4.95?
$6 to $9.
So you know for sure.
Yeah,
Let's say
I was one of those, and I stopped.
let's say $6.50. That's reasonable, right?
Yes.
That's one day. Some people do this 3 times a day. But
Yeah.
that says that's one day times. You don't even do it. You don't even do it all 7 days. Let's say 5 days a week. So that's $32.50. That's times 4. That's 1 week. So times 4 weeks a month. That's 130 a month times 12 months. That's $1,560 that you've saved just by not drinking coffee at home. You can make your coffee at home. It's much cheaper. But that money adds up. Some people say that's no money. Yes, it is.
And they
Okay.
can invest that $1,000.
You sure can. You sure can. All right. So I definitely am excited to share these things with you, Dr. Angie, because I have a whole seminar based upon that I do that's based upon how to get into this business. And
Okay,
and
about
and
that.
hopefully one day we can have another call and I can actually do the whole presentation for you, what it takes to become a professional tax preparer. There are things you have to do to become a professional. There's no happenstance. Some people decided because they saw somebody else do it, they figured they can do it too, but they don't always know all the tricks, all the steps involved. So
Do you have how long does it take a person to become a tax professional now?
that's a very good question, Dr. Andrew. You asked amazing questions. Thank you for that. Okay, it doesn't take long. Actually, I can have you set up to be totally in business by January 1 of this year. You'll be able to be in the tax business this year. And one big benefit by being a tax preparer, learn how to do taxes, you learn more about taxes for yourself. Okay. Okay, because so the things that are benefiting other people, folks take for granted that they know about taxes. And I guarantee you, 90% of the people out there have no idea, okay, what it really takes. And also, too, you're depending upon other people. Like I have clients doing me, but when I do taxes, I'm actually educating as part of the process. I
Mm-hmm.
want you, I think an educated client is the best client. They know what they can do to help benefit themselves. Some people just tell me, "Oh, you teach them, if you show them what they do, then they're gonna go do it themselves." I said, "Well, they might, but that's just like saying just because you can take Uber, that you don't drive anymore. You don't have to worry about driving. Well, you can do Uber, but you can also drive yourself. So you can learn about taxes, but you can also have somebody professional to help you. You can have me help you when it comes to difficult things. So I'm just I'm just here to help. Okay, I'm here to help. That's what I'm a servant. I'm a servant preparer. Was that now?
When people get in trouble, they do their taxes themselves and they get in trouble, they'll come back to you to
That's what
get
happens.
it.
That's what happens a lot. I've seen that more times than not. Okay. So but I'm gonna tell you something too, just to kind of drop this little knowledge on. I mentioned TurboTax a lot, okay, because I have never, not one time have I ever lost to TurboTax. Okay, comparatively, personally, between me and Turbo, I said, dude, I've had people did it themselves on TurboTax, then bring it to me, and I do better.
Mm.
The problem with TurboTax, those who's listening, those people who are listening today, here in the United States, the biggest problem with TurboTax, is not the questions they ask you. It's the questions that they don't ask you or you don't think apply to you. Okay? Because if you don't think it applies to you, there's a whole line of questions that they won't ask because you pretty much have not you don't think it applies to you. All right. So as a as a professional, what I do, I interview you. I find out what are you doing, what's going on, what are some of your what are you having a do you have a hobby? I had this guy who made he made furniture out of you've seen this before. He made furniture out of these pallets.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he did it for fun. He liked doing it. Okay. And he was doing it for friends and anybody that asked, he had this really nice looking items that he made. He was just doing it for fun. I said, have you ever thought about doing it as a business? He said, not really. I like doing it. I said, but then I showed him if you do it as a bit, then don't you have to buy your pallets? He said, I buy some I find, some people just give them to me. I said, okay, well, that means your raw materials are cheap. That's good. But the thing about it is that where are you doing it? Are you doing it in the middle of a field somewhere? He said, no, I'm doing it in my garage. I said, well, the garage is part of your house, right?
Right.
Now, I said, yeah. I said, okay, so you can take a deduction for your house, take some deductions from your house since you're doing it from home. He said, oh, really? I said, yeah. I said, then now you buy paint to paint your pallets? He said,
Yes.
yeah. That's a deduction. That's called a supply. Okay. He said, now, do you ever take the pallets to the people or do people come pick them up? He said, some pick them up, somebody will help them because they don't have a truck or something. I said, well, there you go, transportation. You've used your vehicle. Now you can take a deduction for your vehicle. He's like, hold on. you name about 3 or 4 things I can take a deduction for. And all I was doing at first was just doing it because I like doing it. Yeah. Now you have now reduced your taxes just by turning your hobby into a business. Because IRS wants to know when you sell your pallets to somebody, are you selling are you selling to make money, right? He said, yeah, but that's my money. That's my money on, that's my little money on the side. I mean, I don't need IRS all over my business like that. I said, as my friend, I said, listen, you're cutting yourself out because the money that you could be deducting and saving in taxes could be more than you're getting paid on these pallets.
Oh.
Then their eyes open up. They're like, wow, let me
Yeah.
see how that works. Okay. So there you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And yes, we do want to know how to get started making money and helping people, especially helping people with their taxes. So I do want you to come back. I do want to hear about the training that you have to offer. I do want to hear more about this business because a
Okay.
lot of people know that taxes are inevitable. You cannot run from it. You cannot hide from it. You can't, just say, I don't want to be bothered with it. I don't want to deal with it. It's too tedious. It's too much work. It's too, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
I appreciate it. I mean, I'm trying to make taxes fun. I know it could be a very boring subject for people, but
Yes.
to me, I can show you money is fun. Making money is fun.
Make it.
So yeah, so it's not as taxes is just one of the vehicles I use to make money. So thank you so much, Dr. Angie, for your time today, and anybody who's listening in today. I am available. Please remember to call me. People call me Mr. Leo or the Tax King. And that number again is, if Angie don't mind me, give my number one more time: 404-454-2964. God bless you, Dr. Angie.
Blessings. Thank you so much. We'll
All right,
talk.
and God bless your listeners and your viewers. And I look forward to doing this again. We can actually. I would love to be a segment on your meetings, your calls, and I'll be able to share what the knowledge I've had gained through all these years. So
Yes.
thank you so much for allowing me to talk today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Dr. Angie Speaks. If this conversation moved you,